In this episode, we are gonna cruise Norway's most beautiful coastline on the iconic Hurtigruten, make our way from the North Cape to the Lofoten Islands. Come along as we experience incredible views, charming villages, and so much more on this ultimate adventure in the north. Hi, my name is Alessia. For 5 years, I've been living in the Arctic in northern Norway at 71 degrees north. This year, the winter at the North Cape has gone by so fast. The sky's magic twilight and purple-blue colors are already over, and the bright snow has melted fast from the plateaus. This winter has been a bit different than the previous years. With cruise ships coming daily, even the winter months have become more hectic and less peaceful than usual. January was a very stormy month with constant snowfalls, but suddenly from mid-February warmer days arrived, and for the first time since I've been living here I saw the island with very little snow, which is definitely something unusual here in the Arctic. March is known to be the stormiest month of the winter, but surprisingly this year it has been the best period with stable weather and peaceful days without wind. For the first time I've seen the seawater in NUSFJORD freeze and we could hear the sound of the ice cracking. To enjoy the last sunsets of the winter season, we decided to have a barbecue in nature overlooking the fjords. To recharge my batteries before the start of the summer season, this year, for the first time, I am leaving the island of Mageroja already in May. My boyfriend and I are taking the coastal ship from the North Cape to the Lofoten Islands, where we will stay for 5 days. Then we will do a long road trip, driving through Sweden to reach the southern coast of Finland. The coastal Hurtigruten is a Norwegian cruise ship that travels from Bergen to Kirkenes and back, stopping in 34 ports. The 7 coastal ships still carry goods and passengers along the Norwegian coast, which Hurtigruten has operated since the 1893. We started the journey at 6 a.m. in Honningsvåg, our home base, and we traveled for 1 day and a half to Svolvær in the Lofoten Islands, on board of the hybrid ship Hurtigruten. We took the most basic room on board, which was quite small for 2 people, but if you need to stretch your legs, there are plenty of common areas on the ship, where you can walk around, have a coffee while reading a book, or simply relax enjoying the ocean views. My favorite area was the panoramic lounge on the 7th floor, where we could admire the incredible scenery, and the peaceful cafe on the 4th floor. The breakfast was very rich, ideal if you like seafood. My food of choice was salmon, shrimp and smoothies. The weather on the first day was not the greatest, so we couldn't see much of the landscape, but on the way to Tromsø we saw a local jet skiing in the freezing Barents Sea. For dinner we chose the a la carte restaurant and tried some typical dishes like reindeer meat, sea urchins, blue mussels, wolfish and a cloudberry dessert. On the second day, we were luckier with the weather and the view south from Harstad became more scenic. As we left the barren plateaus of the Finnmark region, the fjords became more dramatic while passing by charming Norwegian villages. The more south we were heading, the greener nature got, and after a long time we could finally see the first glimpses of the summer season. My favorite location during the cruise was Trollfjorden, an area with glaciers, beautiful waterfalls and peaks over 1,000 meters high. Many people also did the Eagle Safari tour from here, which you can book from the ship. I recommend Hurtigruten if you want to explore Norway's beautiful coastline and its charming villages while traveling in comfort and saving long driving distances. When we arrived in Svolvær, we left Hurtigruten with our car, which we transported on board, and we headed 120 kilometers south towards REINE, where we were staying for 3 nights. Driving in the Lofoten Islands, it's an experience in itself. As you cross scenic bridges and pine forests, you pass beautiful white sandy beaches surrounded by dramatic mountains. The total length of the Lofoten archipelago is 175 kilometers. We started our journey in Hamnøy, Norway's most photographed fishing village. We stayed for 3 nights in a historic guest house named the Manor House, built in the 1890, and it used to be the meeting point of the fishermen. All the house's rooms have an amazing view towards the ocean and the mountains. In total there are 2 shared bathrooms, 2 living rooms, a kitchen and a terrace in the garden. If you want to book this accommodation during your stay in Lofoten, I will leave the link in the description below. The following day we woke up with a beautiful sunshine and 20 degrees, which is quite rare here in the Arctic. We parked our car in REINE and we decided to do the iconic hike of Reinebringen. Even though the mountain is only 448 meters high, it is one of the most photographed viewpoints in Norway. The stairway, with 1,566 steps, was built by Nepalese Sherpas and is ascending all the way to the summit ridge. It is quite demanding and it took us 2 hours back and forth. The panoramic views from the top are absolutely stunning and worth all the effort to get there. From here you can see the beautiful REINEFjord, surrounded by majestic mountains, and the villages of REINE, Sakrisøy and Hamnøy. On the way back we decided to visit REINE, a picturesque fishing village with only 300 inhabitants. Since it was the 17th of May, Norway's National Day, we witnessed an outdoor concert in the village. Norwegians celebrate the signing of the Constitution in the 1814. It's a huge day with parades, concert and celebration all over the country. To get some energies after the hike, we had lunch at Anita's Seafood. Joel took a fish soup and I ate a warm smoked salmon burger. The next day we woke up with gloomy weather and a bit of rain. But Lofoten is one of the few places that look scenic even with bad weather. As the clouds were covering the peaks, the views became more mystic. Because of the rain, we decided to skip a hiking day and visit the village of O. Located at the southern tip of Lofoten Islands, O is a well-preserved fishing village with typical fishermen houses lining the coastline and fish drying racks standing on the hills. Many of the preserved buildings have been turned into museums, so O is a great place to add to any trip to Lofoten. You can find the Stockfish Museum, where they show the process from when the cod is brought ashore to when it's exported. If you're luckier than us with the weather, from all you can do different hikes that start from the mountains in the background. Another village that I recommend you to visit is Henningsvær, one of the most famous fishing villages in Lofoten. It consists of several small islands that are connected by bridges, and it got popular for the scenic football pitch pictures. The stadium is set against a backdrop of towering mountains and surrounded by the ocean and traditional fish drying racks. It's no wonder that Henningsvær Stadium has become a popular destination for photographers from all over the world. If you want to try some typical dishes in Lofoten Islands, you can find many dining places. Our favorite restaurant was next to the guest house where we were staying, in Hamnøy, named Gadus, a Nordic trattoria. Fusion cuisine between Italian and Norwegian is common tradition here in Lofoten due to the export stockfish market going on for centuries between Norway and Italy. To end our perfect trip in REINE, on the last day we had a beautiful sunset, with the colors of the sky reflecting in the crystal clear waters. Where I live at the North Cape, from May until the end of July, we don't get proper sunsets anymore, because the sun always stays above the horizon without setting. It has been nice to come here in Lofoten, take a break from the endless light, and enjoy the beautiful sunsets again. The following day, we traveled 40 kilometers north from REINE to NUSFJORD. You will be surprised by the panoramic road as you pass the spectacular mountain passes of Flakstad. We stayed in a typical fisherman's cabin, and this was our view. You can find this accommodation, Lofoten Cottages, linked in the description below. NUSFJORD is one of the oldest and best preserved fishing villages in Norway and is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This picturesque village has a long and fascinating history that dates back to the Viking Age. For generations, the people of NUSFJORD have been fishing for their livelihood, and the traditional fisherman's cabin symbolizes their hard work and dedication to the sea. Today the village is privately owned and only 19 people can call NUSFJORD their permanent home. In the village we found a super cozy cafe. Since the weather was changing every minute, we were happy to relax and eat some breakfast. I chose a shrimp sandwich and a lemon cream bun. In the cafe there was also a souvenir shop, and of course I had to buy some postcards and a sea urchin candle. We could even see the seagulls chilling in their nest from the windows. When the rain finally stopped, we went outside and explored the village. They even had a bakery that was built in the 1877, and it provided fresh bread for the fishermen. We also visited the art gallery and the museum that explained how the fishing industry impacted the life of this old fishing village. In the golden age of NUSFJORD, over 1,000 people inhabited the village center with a long-standing tradition of seasonal cod fishing. They produced cod liver oil, and the smokehouses were used for smoking the salmon. This boat from the late 19th century was used for line fishing and also as means of transporting people to and from church, since the road to the village was only built in the 1967. In the evening, we went to Caroline restaurant and we had dinner with this incredible view. NUSFJORD was my favorite village in Lofoten, and I recommend you visit it if you are traveling here. On our last day in Lofoten, we explored some of the beaches in the area and we saw some people surfing in the cold water. Lofoten has some of Norway's most beautiful beaches. Surrounded by fjords and crystal clear sea, these white sandy beaches are the perfect place for lazy summer days. Lofoten is certainly a place where I could see myself living if I decide to move away from the North Cape. With a mix of mountains and sea, there is the best of both worlds. After our Norwegian holiday, we drove for 20 hours, so almost 1,500 kilometers, and headed into the wilderness of Finland. The scenery for the first 4 hours of drive was incredible. The best part was after we crossed Svolvær and headed north on the road E10. We had to stop a few times to take some pictures. The landscape reminded me of the Alps with the sea. After we crossed the Finnish border, we were driving through the forest on a straight road all the way to southern Finland. Finland is consistently ranked as the happiest country in the world, and the lifestyle places a huge emphasis on spending time with family, friends, and nature. The simple Finnish way of living consists of relaxing in a traditional sauna and jumping into an icy lake, followed by a trip to a lakeside cottage to relax and enjoy the beautiful forest scenery. After getting a good dose of nature in Norway, we wanted to take a break and enjoy the city life instead. We live on a remote island in the Arctic, so it always feels very exciting to go back to the city and civilization after many months. We decided to spend some days in Helsinki. The city is home to around 650,000 people, so it feels very peaceful to be a capital. When we were there, we got a glimpse of what Finnish summer feels like. Helsinki is a completely different city during the summer season. It wakes up after the long and cold winter. People are enjoying the sun in the parks and having a good time on the terraces. In the weekend, we visited the Contemporary Art Museum located near the main square. We walked around the city center and visited Helsinki's most distinctive landmarks, like the White Lutheran Cathedral and the Russian Church. My favorite part of the city life is having breakfast in cute cafes. In Helsinki, you have plenty of options to choose from. On our last day, we watched one of my favorite ballet shows in the National Theatre, The Swan Lake by Tchaikovsky. Here you can see a short clip of the performance. After our 2-week holiday, it was time to head back to the Arctic. We took the night train from Helsinki to Rovaniemi and then we drove for 9 hours all the way to Honningsvåg. It was nice to take a break before the start of the hectic summer season and explore Northern Europe as a change. If you want to have more information about my holiday in the north, don't forget to check my blog Boland for an in-depth travel guide. If you want to be updated with our next adventures, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.